everybody, it's your boy Itz-Beez-Da TrackStar, and welcome back to Dancehall Masterclass. Today we're going to talk all about bass and how to incorporate bass and how to add bass. And it's probably going to be one of the most simple things you will ever see in your life. It's not very complicated at all. Now, if we were talking about an 808, it would be a different situation. That's for later in the course when we get to tuning and stuff like that. But for right now, we're just talking about adding a simple sine bass into your track or just any type of synth bass. Very simple. So for that, the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to load Nexus and get it into the step sequence, and we'll select a bass and then go about the business of adding the notes for the bass. All right, cool. So we will go under the bass bank in Nexus. My favorite bass in Nexus by far is the BA Basic Sine Bass, and it goes something like this. It's literally just a pure sine bass. It gets no more pure than that. What I'm going to do now is we're going to go into the playlist and we'll add a bass line. So bass lines are, especially a synth bass, it's very simple. It's as straightforward as can possibly be. We have cards here. We have notes in the cards that represent the root of the card. So each note, be it E5, F sharp 5, B4, and C sharp 5, those are the root notes. A bass is basically a root instrument, or that's how I look at it, because it's like a foundation. There is no bass and you kind of just lose that energy, So I look at it as like a foundation. You can't build a house without having the foundation set. Now you can build a house before laying the foundation, but in terms of music that will work, but in real life that wouldn't work, because you cannot build a house without a foundation beforehand. You know what I mean? So in terms of the music, a lot of people, they add the bass as the last instrument, that last polish that really just, brings everything together. And that's kind of what we are going to do here. So I have copied the lowest notes in the card. Now, something unique to this patch in Nexus is that it is velocity sensitive. So the lower the velocity, meaning these lines here, basically velocity, if you don't know, is how hard you press the key on the keyboard. So if you press it very soft, you get a soft response. Or if you press it very hard, you get a very sharp, very attack, like a very sharp attack. So it's like immediate and it's very aggressive. And you can think back to the earlier video where we were talking about adding some realism to the piano. That's basically that same idea. So if we play this as is, it's going to be high, so we are going to have to lower it a few octaves. But if we play this as is, then we have this sound. And this is something that I see a lot of times where people will send a track for me to listen to it, and that's what the bass sounds like, and they'll be like, why is it there's no low end? And all I tell them is just drop the bass a few octaves. So this bass in particular, I know that in any of the third octave, so any of the three, so E3, F sharp 3, B2, C sharp 3, any of those sound good. I like it low in those octaves like that because it gives me a really good sound. When it's in like here where it's B2, sometimes it's kind of tricky to get it to work. We'll see if it cooperates today, but let's play it again and take a listen. This time we'll have a lot more bass because we are in a lower octave. Okay, we have a note that's off here. So let's fix it, and that's because, remember, we strummed a part of the pattern here. So that's why that happened. So let's get back to this. Yeah, and I'm feeling like we might need to raise the velocity of some of these a little bit, just to kind of get it a little bit closer. Typically, when I use this bass, to be absolutely honest, I use it with all the notes at an equal level. I never really add velocity changes, but just for the sake of showing it, we'll do that. Okay, cool. So a lot of times this bass, like I said, it doesn't function properly with the second octave. So this B2 note is sounding very good. It's not sounding weird or anything. So we are going to keep it. I'm just going to run with it. That's perfectly fine. So just a few things that we could do with this bass, you know, because it is a synth, there's a start-stop. So we don't have to have it sustained like this. After all, the pattern isn't a very sustained pattern because we have plucks right here. So we could have the bass follow that style, meaning that if we come here and shorten this up like so, you know what I mean, we can have it follow. You know, and we actually can do both. So we can have it start and stop like that and then have it sustain. So let's try that. Slow the volume. Let's turn off a few of the instruments just so we can keep it simple. Yeah, and I'm liking that. You know, it's very nice. You know, and then another thing, you don't, you know, have to, you know, stay with like a certain bass line, because you have to remember that, you know, every bass won't fit every single rhythm that you pick. Now, we picked a sine bass, a pure sine bass, and that will fit 90% of everything that you choose because it's just pure. There's no distortion on it. There's no color to it. It's just a pure sine wave, literally. So this will fit, you know, majority of the tracks that you build, but we could have been working on something else and it didn't fit. So in that situation like that, you know, we can just go and just browse through the presets, see if we can find something else that gives us a better vibe. You know, we'll come back to the basic sign, but let's just go through a few more of these presets and see what we can come up with. And I'm liking this one here. As you can hear, we have delay and reverb on it. You never want to do that, but that's for a later video. Let's turn off the delay. You know, and it seems as if this is basically that very sine bass that we had, but you know, it's distorted, you know, and filtered. Cool. So we'll run with this one. I'm kind of digging it. So we'll run with it. Let's keep these off. So another thing, last thing I want to touch on before I end this video is, even though, let's go up a few octaves. Like I said, typically your bass notes will be like the lowest notes in your chord, but it doesn't have to be, because at the end of the day, we are in a scale and we have other notes in the scale that we could play. So I could easily move my bass note up to this note here. I could even raise this up to here and it would still fit. It might not sound as good as it did if we use the lowest notes, but it would still fit because it's all in the same key. So if we play this one, no, so it's not out of key, but it definitely doesn't have that same vibe as it did before when we were just using the lowest notes. And that can be something that is very tricky. You know, you have to be careful with that because, like I said, you don't have to do it, but it's just an option. Like, you can get creative and we could do something like, you know, we can just mess around with it just to get the notes to give us a different vibe. You know, and you know, it's like I said, everything is by trial and error. Just try it. If you feel like you want to do it, just do it, because you never know what will happen. A lot of the greatest things that happen in music were absolute mistakes or just some one-off stuff. I've seen big engineers talk about stuff that they did that they could never replicate because when they did it the first time, it was just a mistake. It was just accidental. It wasn't meant to be. Well, I mean, it was meant to be because it happened, but it wasn't meant to happen like that. You know, it wasn't supposed to happen, basically. It was just an accident. So, you know, that's my, you know, little tidbit on that. But yeah, now we have a bass line. We have all our melodies laid out. We have our percussions. You know, we have basically the foundation for a very simple track. The next video, like I said, we are going to break it out onto the mixer and then start, you know, kind of fine tuning, adding our little transitions and our, you know, little ins and outs and little, you know, stuff that we can do to make it even more interesting. You understand what I'm saying? So until next time, it's your boy Itz-Beez-Da, the TrackStar. Peace.